going to seize back control, which is apparently what Yvette Cooper is saying she's going to do with our streets, because she is celebrating the fact that, guess what? Knife crime has dropped by 6%. Yeah, I know. That's what I thought as well. Really turning the corner there, Yvette. But don't you worry. They've banned ninja swords because that's what everyone was using on the streets as they're going about stabbing each other. It's just ninja swords. No other weapons will do. Let's speak to Norman Brennan, former police officer and campaigner against knife crime. I mean, the government are doing what they normally do, which is sort of telling us that there's this amazing success story, that they've really got a hold of this problem, that we can all sleep soundly in our beds if we live in London or, quite frankly, anywhere else, because they have got all sorts of things, such as a two-step verification for knives bought from online retailers, a £60,000 penalty for social media companies who ignore orders to remove content that glorifies knives within 48 hours. I mean, that's all very well, but this is just messing about around the edges, isn't it? It's not actually getting to the root cause of the problem, and I don't know how much of an impact this is going to have.
No, I completely agree. I'd like to see these statistics in relation to the 6%. I think that might be in certain areas. It's quite convenient that it's a bit like statistics, damn statistics and lies, and mix all that about, and you're still confused. Knife crime is at an epidemic level, and as you rightly say, this government, when they came in, promised to reduce knife crime by 50% in 10 years. I don't know where they got it from. They just make up things on the spot. But I don't see how that's going to happen. And when it comes to knife crime, it nowhere hits anywhere near the true figures. There are 4,000 gangs in Britain, 4,000, normally 30 strong, sometimes a bit more, sometimes a bit less. Almost all of those will have a knife. None of those statistics are actually included in the figures of the Home Office because they don't know about it. And the reason they don't know about it, Alex, is we've got no police on the streets. We don't carry out stop and search like we used to do. Now, when you look at these figures, just imagine if the figures were as they were back in 2000, in the last 5-7 years. The Met, for example, carried out, I think 3 or 4 years ago, 1.5 million stop and searches. Last year, that was down to 500,000. So this year, it will be even lower.
So what? I mean, to me, I mean, that is surely, like you say, at the crux of all of this. If you want people to not carry out knife attacks, they need to be not carrying knives, which means that people need to be checked whether they've got an offensive weapon. And if they do, we got to come down on them like a ton of bricks. And yet that is reducing by 75% or thereabouts.
As I've told you before and many others, when I was a serving police officer, I went to 10 Downing Street with families, both black and white, in London, who had been bereaved by homicide. It was 20 years ago. In full uniform, I was outside number 10. Unheard of that a police officer puts his uniform on and feels so strong about a subject such as knife crime that risks his career to highlight it. And I told the government then, and it was a Labour government, unless you get a grip on knife crime, there will be an epidemic. Well, there is an epidemic. And as you rightly say, the government are dealing with froth. They're not dealing with the substance. And the substance, just briefly, Alex, is this. 5 years mandatory prison sentences for carrying a knife on the street without lawful authority or excuse. 3 years if you're a child. Mass stop and search. Well, that's not going to happen because we haven't got the officers. Then you get certain people in the community complaining that they're stopped and searched, but there are people within that black community that have lost their children as a result of being stabbed by another black young lad, that they too are very upset about that because they're planning funerals instead of futures. Parental and personal responsibility. Nobody seems to take responsibility anymore. A nationwide education programme, mentors, people like myself and other families going into prisons and young offenders institutes. There's a whole wealth of ideas and solutions, but the government, I'm afraid, it's a bit like moving the deck chairs around on the Titanic. Yes, that looks a little bit different. It's a few percentage points down. But you try and tell the tens of thousands of people that have been a victim of a knife crime, maimed, left with scars. Even I was as a serving police officer. I still have it now. I don't even look where I was stabbed because it brings back those memories. If it's that like that for me, it must be like that for everyone else. So to hear that knife crime has gone down a couple of percent, same as burglaries, robberies, you name the crime, it means nothing to the victims. The victims have to live with it, and others in society fear it.
They've sort of come up with this brilliant idea that we've got these knife archers now. Knife archers are going to solve all our problems. The thing is, when it comes to sort of whacking up a knife archer Notting Hill Carnival or something like that, people just don't walk through it. They go down a different street.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That they help a little bit, but again, we hardly have any at all. How many times have you heard about knife amnesties, Alex?
Oh yeah, hand in your weapons and get a tenner for your stash. Like that's going to work.
Right. Let me tell you exactly what it is. It's nothing more than a public relations exercise. The people that we want knives from have knives prior to the knives amnesties. During the knife amnesty, they continue to carry their knives. After the knife amnesty, the people that are still left with the knives are those that we want the knives from. The people that hand it in are normally law-abiding members of the public that might have found a machete in their garage, unlikely to get into the hands of one of the gangs I've just told you about. So the circle goes round and round. And every day of the week, only 3 days ago, I think it was over in Hackney, Bermondsey, quadruple stabbing, 2 dead, 1 fights for his life, and another one seriously injured. That was in just one knife attack. I actually post on it, as you probably know, on a daily basis, and I just got my head in my hands all the time. And the trouble is, the government, what they do is they get involved in distraction tactics, knife amnesty, a knife arch, rounded blades. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, and we're going to do the other. The sad reality is, unless you get a grip of a problem, and knife crime has become a cancer in Britain, and unless you treat that cancer and find a cure, I'm afraid it will get worse, and more people will suffer and die from it.
It sort of reminds me of that old adage that a good workman doesn't blame the tools. A good government shouldn't blame a knife for knife crime. And this whole idea that just banning ninja knives is going to solve the problem when people can go and get any other blades. I mean, I'm a very keen cook. I'm sure if I was that way inclined, I could probably leave my house this afternoon with various offensive weapons that I otherwise use to debone chicken thighs and go and cause some serious damage.
Well, I think ninja knives have killed about 6 people. That's 6 people too many. The countless hundreds of others are actually killed by a kitchen knife. Well, there are tens of millions of kitchen knives in Britain. So banning ninja knives, as I've just said to you, is a distraction tactic. What we've actually got to do is get a grip. The government haven't got a grip. They just keep coming out with all of these promises. They keep coming out with all these nonsensical targets, a bit of like making, I know it's something you feel very strong about, making women feel safe on the streets from sex attacks and being pestered. They said they were going to reduce that by half in the next 10 years. What is it about the 10 years that this government keep on telling us about? What it is, they're trying to hoodwink us into giving them 2 terms. Now, I'm not politically motivated. I'm in bed with no political party. I've never seen a government so hated, so mistrusted, and that has hurt so many people in all of my 66 years. I've never seen London streets so unsafe. The Commissioner says they're safe. Well, I policed those streets while he was up in them high ranks as a frontline police officer for 31 years, and they were relatively safe then. Nowadays, we have some no-go areas. We have places that are just absolutely fearless. People don't want to go to them. And the Commissioner is saying that London is safe. Well, I'm telling you as a Londoner that it isn't safe. And I'm sure many people that live in London that are watching this programme now don't feel safe. 88,000 mobile phones stolen, Rolex watches being stolen every day of the week. 3 weeks ago in Knightsbridge, that young man from Alton in Hampshire was stabbed to death for his Rolex watch. We haven't heard too much about it. We made arrests. They've actually been bailed. Every murder, every stabbing, every dreadful crime that we hear about, it's news today. Tomorrow and the next day it's forgotten. And I'll leave you with this caveat, Alex. The reason why nothing is done is because a government relies on people's apathy, that the problems of the issues that we face on the Monday, the government will know by Friday there will be something else a little bit more important for us to worry about. So they just sit back in their castle, throw crumbs over the top, and just to let us get on. And we're broken people. Britain is broken. We've got anarchy on our streets. And it's not just from an angry member of the public. I'm one of Britain's leading law and order campaigners. I care passionately about protection of society and looking after victims of crime. And I'm in as much despair as them because I don't see the outlook looking very good, certainly not under this government.
Norman, you're absolutely right. Keep doing what you're doing. We've got to keep pushing hard on this. You're right, this government aren't going to get the job done, are they? Norman Brennan, former police officer and brilliant knife crime campaigner there. I mean, you know, what Norman says is true. It's this sort of normalisation by stealth, the apathetic public. My other half's been doing up a property in London, has unearthed some old newspapers from quite a few decades ago. And one of the lead stories in a London rag from about the 1940s was someone who nicked a T-shirt. It was a big headline story. They'd nicked a T-shirt and shoved it up their shirt and made off in a shop. I remember when I first lived in London, if someone got stabbed, that'd be huge news. It'd dominate the news for a week. Now it's just, yeah, someone got stabbed at the end of my road. Oh, yeah, look at that. Someone's been sliced up in the street again. Oh, well, that's just normal now today, isn't it? We can't be apathetic against this, about this. We really cannot. It is vile.